Alright, good morning everyone. We are here with break 346, another 21 NRL Traders case break, featuring a sealed 21 NRL Traders case. Quite simple in the description. Let's get our team list. Today, Broncos, Tony Luxton, Raiders, Peter Lowe, Bulldogs, Peter Lowe, Sharks, Rod Staples, Titans, Lee Marshall, Manly, John Gravener, Storm, Stephen Gillard, as well as the Knights, Cowboys, Peter Lowe, as well as Eels and Panthers. I was just making sure I grabbed that last trade in this list, sorry. Rabbitohs, Damon Rowe, Dragons, Lee Marshall, Roosters, Carlo Murata, Warriors, Terry Baker, Tigers, Damon Rowe. G'day, Tony, and welcome. Good luck, mate. It's been a while. Glad to have you. Hope all is well. Let's find out what our lucky case card is. Make sure there's none slipped down the sides. Nah. We have number 45, Ethan Lowe for the Rabbitohs. We got Damon Rowe. Alright, let's get these boxes out. There we go. Box number 1. Alright. First packet. Season to remember, Nathan Cleary for Panthers. Broncos, parallel checklist. Rising Stars, Ray Stone for the Eels. Jared Croker, parallel for the Raiders. Parallel, Eliza Katoa for the Warriors. Wildcard, Chance Nico Klokstad for the Raiders. Big Papa, parallel for the Raiders. Wildcard, Mawaki Fotuaika for the Titans. Boyd Cordner, parallel for the Roosters. Rising Stars, Tom Starling for the Raiders. Tavita Totola, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Wildcard, Mitchell Moses for the Eels. Wilami Kikau, parallel for the Panthers. Retirement, Gavin Cooper for the Cowboys. parallel Jordan Piera for the Dragons. Star Tunes, Mitchell Moses for the Eels. Brendan Smith, parallel for Storm. Season to remember, Clint Gufferson for the Eels. Braden Hemlin Yuli, parallel for the Sharks. Rising Stars, Jake Averillo for the Bulldogs. Alexander Brimson, parallel for Titans. G'day Lee, welcome mate. Good luck in the break. Club Heroes, Jermaine Jolfie for the Titans. Cowboys parallel checklist. Rising Stars, Hamali Olika-Atu for Manly. Moses Sulai, parallel for Manly. Rising Stars, Stephen Crichton for Panthers. Jazz Tavega, parallel for the Warriors. Star Tunes, Martin Tapau for Manly. Adam Dewey, parallel for the Tigers. Curious for those that are in the break, is there anything in the case that you're looking to get, that you're still chasing for 21 traders set? Or are we just in it for a bit of fun? Season to remember, Hammer for the Cowboys. Hymel Hunt, parallel for the Knights. Parallel, Dale Finucane for the Storm. Rising Stars, Braden Trindle for the Sharks. Ryan Madison, parallel for the Eels. Season to remember, Mikhail Ravalawa for the Dragons. Campbell Graham, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Rising Stars, Tessie New for the Broncos. Paul Vaughan, parallel for the Dragons. William Kennedy, parallel for the Sharks. Isaiah Yeo, parallel for Panthers. Team Wildcard for the Storm. Titans parallel checklist. Rising Stars, Jackson Paulo for the Rabbitohs. Reese Robson, parallel for the Cowboys. Season to remember, Sonny Bill Williams for the Roosters. Luciano Leilua, parallel for the Tigers. White Street Art, Patrick Carrigan for the Broncos. Brad Parker, parallel for Manly. Ethan Lowe for the Rabbitohs. Number 45 on that one. Season to remember, Alex Johnston for the Rabbitohs. David Clemmer, parallel for the Knights. Rising Stars, Tanner Boyd for the Titans. Felice Kafusi, parallel for Storm. Rising Stars, Lachlan Lamb for the Roosters. Eels, parallel checklist. Rising Stars, Adam Clune for the Dragons. Bulldogs, parallel checklist. Micah Sivo, parallel for the Eels. Wildcard, DCE for Manly. Jerome Luai, parallel for Panthers. Seeing him for the first time in a Tigers jumper today. A Facebook post advertising members training session or something. Rising Stars, Connolly Loomy Loom for the Cowboys. Thomas McHale, parallel for the Tigers. Seeing Gutho in a Dragons polo signing his contract. That hurt. Xavier Coates, parallel for Broncos. Black Streeter, Milwaukee Fodawaka for the Titans. Nick Meaney, parallel for the Bulldogs. Hammer Fido for the Cowboys, White Street Art. Angus Crichton, parallel for the Roosters. Alright, first box done and dusted. Get these tidied up and keep going. Box number 2. Don't forget, Panthers are the magic predictor in this series. If we hit a Panthers, that is still redeemable. Of course, looking for legends, signatures, black and white authentics. Season to remember, Peter Hiku for the Warriors. Jordan McLean, parallel for the Cowboys. Phoenix Crossland, Rising Stars for the Knights. Daly Cherry Evans, parallel for Manly. Wildcard, Nathan Cleary for Panthers. Tanila Paseka, parallel for Manly. Mitchell Barnett, parallel for the Knights. Wildcard, Ryan Pappenhausen for the Storm. Jerome Hughes, parallel for the Storm. Rising Stars, Freddie Lussick for the Roosters. Dylan Brown, parallel for the Eels. Wildcard, Adam Reynolds for the Rabbitohs. Dragons, parallel checklist. And one of those cards I just mentioned, number 18. Like Authentics, Scott Drinkwater for the Cowboys. Peter Lowe with the Cowboys today. Stephen Crichton, parallel for Panthers. Star Tunes, Angus Crichton for the Roosters. Brett Morris, parallel for the Roosters. Season to remember, Josh Morris for the Roosters. Tigers, parallel checklist. Star Tunes, Group B. Blake Brayley, parallel for the Sharks. Rising Stars, Cade Ellis for the Dragons. Jake Averillo, parallel for the Bulldogs. Club Heroes, a few of them seem to be getting stuck. Oh, nice. Caitlin Ponga in the Knights. Patrick Carrigan, parallel for the Broncos. Rising Stars, Cade Cust for Manly. Kalen Ponga, parallel for the Knights. Rising Stars, Charlie Staines for Panthers. Parallel, Elliot Whitehead for the Raiders. Season to remember, Cameron McInnes for the Dragons. Chanel Harris-Tavita, parallel for the Warriors. Parallel Hargraves for the Roosters. Rising Stars, Herbie Farnworth for the Broncos. Cody Walker, parallel for the Rabbitohs. White Streeter, Cody Nikorima for the Warriors. Ryan Pappenhausen, parallel for Storm. Season to remember, Tavita Pengai Jr. for the Broncos. Clint Gufferson parallel for the Eels. Adam Clune parallel for the Dragons. Rising Stars. Connor Tracy for the Sharks. Panthers parallel checklist. David Nofaluma parallel for the Tigers. Season to remember, Big Papa for the Raiders. Chad Townsend parallel for the Sharks. Team Wildcard for the Cowboys. Josh Jackson parallel for the Bulldogs. Rising Stars, Tommy Talau for the Tigers. Katoni Staggs parallel for the Broncos. Rising Stars, Semi Valemi for the Raiders. Latrell Mitchell parallel for the Rabbitohs. White Streeter, Ryan Pappenhausen. Dynamis Aluai parallel for the Raiders. Season to remember, Billy Walters for the Tigers. Peter Hiku parallel for the Warriors. Rising Stars, Brendan Wakeham for the Bulldogs. Anthony Don parallel for the Titans. Rising Stars, Cooper Johns for the Storm. James Tedesco parallel for the Roosters. Damien Cook parallel for the Rabbitohs. Wildcard, Aaron Woods for the Sharks. Mikhail Ravalawa parallel for the Dragons. Valentine Holmes parallel for the Cowboys. Rising Stars, Hayes Perham for the Warriors. Sharks parallel checklist. Black Streeter, Mitchell Barnett for the Knights. And parallel Corey Thompson for the Titans. Alright. Box number 3. Star Tunes, Scott Drinkwater for the Cowboys. Parallel, Felice Kafusi for Storm. Rising Stars, Ray Stone for the Eels. Raiders, Parallel Checklist. Cody Nikarima, Parallel for the Warriors. Wildcard, Alexander Brimson for the Titans. Cesar Takahawi, Parallel for the Roosters. Rising Stars, Tom Starling for the Raiders. Cameron Murray, Parallel for the Rabbitohs. Retirement, David Gower for the Eels. Parallel, Matt Duffy for the Dragons. Wildcard, Josh Hodgson for the Raiders. Jared Croker, Parallel for the Raiders. Season to remember, Jared Croker for the Raiders. Jesse Ramian, Parallel for the Sharks. Rising Stars, Jake Averillo for the Bulldogs. Jamal Fogarty, Parallel for Titans. Star Tunes, Cameron Murray for the Rabbitohs. Josh Alawai, Parallel for the Tigers. Club Heroes, Jack Whiten for the Raiders. Josh Maguire, Parallel for the Cowboys. Stephen Crichton, Rising Stars for Panthers. Eliza Katoa, Parallel for the Warriors. Rising Stars, Hamali Olaka-Atu for Manly. Manly, Parallel Checklist. Season to remember, David Fafita for the Broncos. Mitchell Pearce, Parallel for Knights. Nelson Asafa Solomona, Parallel for the Storm. Rising Stars, Braden Trindle for the Sharks. Blake Ferguson, parallel for the Eels. Someone I haven't heard about for a while. I'm sure he was back playing Country League or something last I heard. Wildcard, Ryan Madison for the Eels. Nathan Cleary, parallel for Panthers. White Street Art, Ben Hunt for the Dragons. Boyd Cordner, parallel for the Roosters. Season to remember, Philip Sammy for the Titans. Tavita Totola, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Rising Stars, Tessie New for the Broncos. Parallel, Jordan Piera for the Dragons. Braden Hamlin at Yuli, parallel for the Sharks. Jerome Luai, parallel for Panthers. Team Wildcard for the Raiders. AJ Brimson, parallel for the Titans. Rising Stars, Jackson Paulo for the Rabbitohs. Cowboys, parallel checklist. Season to remember, Dally Cherry Evans for Manly. Thomas McHale, parallel for the Tigers. Rising Stars, Lachlan Lamb for the Roosters. Micah Sivo, parallel for the Eels. White Streeter, Mawaki Fodawaika for the Titans. Moses Sulai, parallel for Manly. Rising Stars, Adam Clune for the Dragons. Nick Meaney, parallel for the Bulldogs. Sione Katoa, season to remember for the Dragons. Heimel Hunt, parallel for the Knights. Rising Stars, Tanner Boyd for the Titans. Dale Finucane, parallel for the Storm. Black Streeter, Ryan Pappenhausen for the Storm. Ryan Madison, parallel for the Eels. Did I say Pappenhausen or Madison for that Black Streeter? Broncos, parallel checklist. 4 packets left in box number 3. Wildcard, Jake Trbojevic for Manly. Allow me kick out, parallel for Panthers. Rising Stars, Connolly Lumi for the Cowboys. Adam Dewey, parallel for the Tigers. Authentic Silvers, Liam Knight for the Rabbitohs. Dallin Watine-Zelezniak, parallel for the Bulldogs. And last pack for the box. Season to remember, Nick Meaney for the Bulldogs. Payne Haas, parallel for the Broncos. Alright, box number 4. White Streeter, Jared Croker for the Raiders. Paul Vaughan, parallel for the Dragons. Season to remember, Jack Whiten for the Raiders. William Kennedy, parallel for the Sharks. Club Heroes, Tyson Frizzell for the Dragons. Tavita Totola, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Rising Stars, Matt Dory for the Bulldogs. Titans, parallel checklist. Parallel Reese Robson for the Cowboys. Wildcard Corey Oates for the Broncos. Brad Parker, parallel for Manly. Rising Stars, Adam Pompey for the Warriors. Jordan Pierre, parallel for the Dragons. Rising Stars, Tavita Funa for Manly. David Clemmer, parallel for the Knights. Black Streeter, hammer for the Cowboys. Felice Kafusi, parallel for Storm. Season to remember, Katoni Staggs for Broncos. Micah Sivo, parallel for the Eels. Season to remember, Roger Tuivasa Shet for the Warriors. Braden Hamlin Yuli, parallel for the Sharks. Rising Stars, William Kennedy for the Sharks. Jerome Luai, parallel for Panthers. Thomas McHale, parallel for the Tigers. Parallel, AJ Brimson for the Titans. Rising Stars, Tex Hoy for the Knights. Cowboys Parallel Checklist. Wildcard, David Clemmer for the Knights. Nick Meaney, Parallel for Bulldogs. Wildcard, Scott Drinkwater for the Cowboys. Moses Sulai, Parallel for Manly. Rising Stars, Asuka Poa for the Tigers. Broncos, Parallel Checklist. And our first predictor for the case, number 163 for the Warriors. Parallel, Jared Croker for the Raiders. Rising Stars, Keelan Kolomatangi for the Rabbitohs. Kyle Felt, Parallel for the Cowboys. Parallel, Cade Cast for Manly. Season to remember, Toby Rudolph for the Sharks. Bradman Best, Parallel for the Knights. Rising Stars, Bo Fermor for the Titans. Brendan Smith, Parallel for Storm. Season to remember, David Nofaluma for the Tigers. Eliza Katoa, Parallel for the Warriors. Parallel Eels Checklist. Star Tunes, Mitchell Moses for the Eels. Ashley Taylor, Parallel for Titans. Wildcard, Roger Tuivasa Sheck for the Warriors. Isaiah Yeo, Parallel for Panthers. Rising Stars, Hammer Fido for the Cowboys. Luciano Leilua for the Tigers. Rising Stars, Nico Hines for Storm. Boyd Cordner, Parallel for the Roosters. White Streeter, Dylan Brown for the Eels. Bulldogs, Parallel Checklist. Season to remember, Josh Jackson for the Bulldogs. Xavier Coates, Parallel for Broncos. Rising Stars, Oregon Kaufusi for the Eels. Big Papa parallel for the Raiders. Parallel Jazz De Vega for the Warriors. Team Wildcard for the Knights. Angus Crichton parallel for the Roosters. Marty Tapau Star Tunes for Manly. Hymel Hunt parallel for the Knights. Rising Stars Kai O'Donnell for the Raiders. Carol Graham parallel for the Rabbitohs. Number 4 done and dusted. Tidy these up quickly and get on to the next one. Box number 5. White Streeter Mitchell Barnett for the Knights. Liam Martin parallel for the Panthers. Season to remember Tommy Turbo for Manly. Tommy Talau parallel for the Tigers. Rising Stars Max Feagai for the Dragons. Adam Elliott parallel for the Bulldogs. Season to remember Jake Averillo for the Bulldogs. Luke Brooks parallel for the Tigers. Corey Oates parallel for the Broncos. Wildcard Ben Hunt for the Dragons. Josh Hodgson for the Raiders parallel. Rising Stars Caleb Aikens for Panthers. Kenmore Marlowe parallel for the Warriors. Black Streeter Moses Mbai for the Tigers. Josh Morris parallel for the Roosters. Number 28. Laurie Daly, Legends. So that now gets randomized between all 16 spots. How cool is that? Nice clean signature on that one too. Luke Thompson, parallel for the Bulldogs. Season to remember Ashley Taylor for the Titans. Rabbitohs parallel checklist. Rising Stars Xavier Coates for the Broncos. Zach Lomax, parallel for the Dragons. Wade Graham, parallel for the Sharks. Rising Stars, Dylan Brown for the Eels. Herbie Farmworth, parallel for the Broncos. Wildcard, Boyd Cordner for the Roosters. Chance Nico Klokstad, parallel for the Raiders. Wildcard, Will Hopper-Wate for the Bulldogs. Philip Semi, parallel for the Titans. Rising Stars, Bailey Sirenen for the Rabbitohs. Michael Morgan, parallel for the Cowboys. Rising Stars, Pawasa Farmasuli for the Roosters. Regan Campbell-Gillard, parallel for the Eels. Rising Stars, Mitchell Dunn for the Cowboys. James Fisher-Harris, parallel for Panthers. Silver Authentics, Luciano Leilua for the Tigers. Jake Trbojevic, parallel for Manly. Ronaldo Mulitalo for the Sharks. Kurt Mann, parallel for the Knights. Rising Stars, Sean Blaw for the Tigers. Thomas Flegler, parallel for the Broncos. Jack Whiten, parallel for the Raiders. Rising Stars, Jamin Spry for the Titans. Kenny Bromwich, parallel for the Storm. Season to remember, Anari Tawala for the Knights. Tohu Harris, parallel for the Warriors. Rising Stars, Isaac Loomy for the Storm. Roosters, parallel checklist. Jaden Sewer, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Wildcard, Luciano Leilua for the Tigers. Cameron McInnes, parallel for the Dragons. Rising Stars, Jermaine Tanua Brown for the Warriors. Sione Katoa, parallel for the Sharks. Club Heroes. Talk of the man, he popped up a bit late. Clint Gufferson for the Eels. Mitchell Moses parallel for the Eels. Star Tunes, Happy for the Panthers. Will Hopewate parallel for Bulldogs. White Streeter, Moses Mbai for the Tigers. Tanner Boyd parallel for the Titans. Season to remember, Cameron Smith for Storm. Jason Tormalolo parallel for the Cowboys. You got 4 packets left for the box. Rising Stars, Bradman Best for the Knights. Tommy Turbo parallel for Manly. Star Tunes, Luke Brooks for the Tigers. David Fusitua parallel for the Warriors. Daniel Saifiti parallel for the Knights. Team Wildcard for the Dragons. Storm parallel checklist. And that is box number 5. Done and dusted. Got a bit worried then. I still thought we were on box number 4 for some reason. I had to recount. Alright. Here we go. Box number 6. Almost halfway through. Warriors parallel checklist. Star Tunes, Sean Johnson for the Sharks. Dale Finucane parallel for Storm. Wildcard, Brian Kelly for the Titans. Luke Keary parallel for the Roosters. Wildcard, Clint Gufferson for the Eels. Happy parallel for the Panthers. Rising Stars, Tom Starling for the Raiders. Dane Gagai parallel for the Rabbitohs. Retirements, Chris Lawrence for the Tigers. Parallel, Tarek Sims for the Dragons. Season to remember, Clint Gufferson for the Eels. Sean Johnson parallel for the Sharks. Wildcard, Jack Whiten for the Raiders. Raiders parallel checklist. Star Tunes, Kalen Ponga for the Knights. Joey Leilua parallel for the Tigers. Rising Stars, Jake Averillo for the Bulldogs. Mawaiki Fodawaika parallel for the Titans. Club Heroes, Keon Kolomatangi for the Rabbitohs. Scott Drinkwater parallel for the Cowboys. Rising Stars, Stephen Crichton for the Panthers. Cody Nikorima parallel for the Warriors. Rising Stars, Molly Olaka'atu for Manly. Tavita Funa parallel for Manly. Season to remember, Emma Fido for the Cowboys. Knights parallel checklist. Parallel Cameron Munster for Storm. Rising Stars, Braden Trindle for the Sharks. Eels, Reed Marnie for the Eels. Unfortunately, now at the Bulldogs. Starting to lose a few of our better players. Hamafido, White Street Art for the Cowboys. I'm not sure who we picked up recently either. Taka Howie, parallel for the Roosters. Rising Stars, Ray Stone for the Eels. Joseph Tarpanay, parallel for the Raiders. Season to remember, Mikhail Ravalawa for the Dragons. Cameron Murray, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Rising Stars, Tessie New for the Broncos. Matthew Duffy, parallel for the Dragons. Jesse Ramian, parallel for the Sharks. Team Wildcard for the Bulldogs. Jamal Fogarty, parallel for the Titans. Jackson Paulo, Rising Stars for the Rabbitohs. Josh Maguire, parallel for the Cowboys. Bellamy kick out, parallel for Panthers. White Streeter, Patrick Carrigan for the Broncos. Manly parallel checklist. Rising Stars, Lachlan Lamb for the Roosters. Ryan Madison, parallel for the Eels. Season to remember, Sonny Bill Williams for the Roosters. Adam Dewey, parallel for the Tigers. Season to remember, Alex Johnston for the Rabbitohs. Mitchell Pearce, parallel for the Knights. Rising Stars, Tanner Boyd for the Titans. Nelson Asafa Solomona, parallel for Storm. Parallel, Blake Ferguson for the Eels. Rising Stars, Adam Clune for the Dragons. Dallin Watine Zalesniak, parallel for the Bulldogs. Wildcard, Tommy Turbo for Manly. Nathan Cleary, parallel for Panthers. 4 packets left in box number 6. Rising Stars, Connolly Lumilu for the Cowboys. Josh Alloway, parallel for Tigers. Black Streeter, Patrick Carrigan for the Broncos. Dylan Napa, parallel for the Bulldogs. Payne Haas, parallel for the Broncos. Season to remember, Nathan Cleary for Panthers. Tommy Dearden, parallel for the Broncos. Alright, box number 6 done and dusted. Halfway through the case now. Let's get into box number 7. I'll just move that so I can push these down and have some more room. Get open. Rising Stars, Bailey Sirenen for the Rabbitohs. Jason Tormalolo, parallel for the Cowboys. I'm not sure if these are the same predictors we had in the first case, or last case I should say. 152. Titans. Tommy Turbo, parallel for Manly. Rising Stars, Caleb Aikens for Panthers. Tohu Harris, parallel for Warriors. Season to remember, Adam Reynolds for the Rabbitohs. Daniel Saifiti, parallel for the Knights. Rising Stars, Trayman Spry for the Titans. Storm, Parallel Checklist. Black Streeter, Tucker Howie for the Roosters. Roosters, Parallel Checklist. Season to remember, Cody Ramsey for the Dragons. Jaden Sewer, Parallel for the Rabbitohs. Star Tunes, Elliot Whitehead for the Raiders. Ken Momalo, Parallel for the Warriors. Club Heroes, Toby Rudolph for the Sharks. Regan Campbell Gillard, Parallel for the Eels. Rising Stars, Xavier Coates for the Broncos. Cameron McInnes, Parallel for the Dragons. Rising Stars, Mitchell Dunn for the Cowboys. Liam Martin, Parallel for Panthers. Season to remember, Josh Mansell for Panthers. Tommy Talau, Parallel for the Tigers. Parallel, Sione Katoa for the Sharks. Parallel, Adam Elliott for the Bulldogs. Rising Stars, Dylan Brown for the Eels. Corey Oates, Parallel for the Broncos. Wildcard, Teddy for the Roosters. Josh Hodgson, Parallel for the Raiders. Wildcard, Adam Elliott for the Bulldogs. Tanner Boyd, Parallel for the Titans. Wildcard, Zach Lomax for the Dragons. Jack Whiten, Parallel for the Raiders. Rising Stars for the Roosters. Reed Marnie, Parallel for the Eels. Rising Stars, Sean Bloor for the Tigers. Tom Dearden, Parallel for the Broncos. Joseph Tarpanay, Parallel for the Raiders. Season to remember, Benji Marshall for the Tigers. Warriors, Parallel Checklist. White Street Art, Ronaldo Mulatalo for the Sharks. Happy Parallel for Panthers. Rising Stars, Isaac for Storm. Luke Keary, parallel for the Roosters. Dane Gagai, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Star Tunes, Ashley Taylor for the Titans. Dylan Napa, parallel for the Bulldogs. Season to remember, Mitchell Orbison for the Roosters. Joey Leilua, parallel for the Tigers. Wildcard, Luke Brooks for the Tigers. Parallel, Tarek Sims for the Dragons. Rising Stars, Jermaine Tanua Brown for the Warriors. Sean Johnson, parallel for the Sharks. Rising Stars, Max Feagai for the Dragons. Will Hopewade, parallel for the Bulldogs. White Streeter, Latrell Mitchell for the Rabbitohs. Mawaki Fodawaka, parallel for the Titans. Season to remember, Chanel Harris-Tavita for the Warriors. Scott Drinkwater, parallel for the Cowboys. Rising Stars, Bradman Best for the Knights. Tavita Funa, parallel for Manly. Thomas Flegler, parallel for the Broncos. 2 packets left. Knights, parallel checklist. Team wildcard for the Tigers. And Cameron Munster, parallel for the Storm. Alright, let's go with box number 8. Club Heroes, Teddy for the Roosters. Clint Gutherson, parallel for the Eels. Season to remember, Mitchell Orbison for the Roosters. Luke Brooks, parallel for Tigers. Rising Stars, Max Feagai for the Dragons. Luke Thompson, parallel for the Bulldogs. Herbie Farmworth, parallel for the Broncos. Rising Stars, Mitchell Dunn for the Cowboys. Panthers parallel checklist. Wildcard, Paul Vaughan for the Dragons. Chance Nico Klokstad, parallel for the Raiders. Rising Stars, Caleb Aikens for Panthers. David Fusatua, parallel for the Warriors. Black Streeter, Dylan Brown for the Eels. Brett Morris, parallel for the Roosters. Season to remember, Josh Mansell for Panthers. David Nofaluma, parallel for the Tigers. Season to remember, Cody Ramsey for the Dragons. Latrell Mitchell, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Wildcard, Luke Keary for the Roosters. Dunamis Luai, parallel for the Raiders. Rising Stars, Xavier Coates for the Broncos. Adam Clune, parallel for the Dragons. Josh Jackson, parallel for the Bulldogs. Chad Townsend, parallel for the Sharks. Rising Stars, Dylan Brown for the Eels. Tony Staggs, parallel for the Broncos. Wildcard, Dylan Napa for the Bulldogs. Anthony Don, parallel for the Titans. Rising Stars, Bailey Sirenen for the Rabbitohs. Valentine Holmes, parallel for the Cowboys. White Streeter, Ronaldo Mulatalo for the Sharks. James Fisher Harris, parallel for Panthers. And our white authentics for the case number 96, Curtis Sirenen for Manly. Parallel Tanila Paseka for Manly. Rising Stars, Sean Bloor for the Tigers. Corey Oates, parallel for Broncos. Josh Hodgson, parallel for the Raiders. Season to remember, Benji Marshall for the Tigers. Ken Momalo, parallel for the Warriors. I think I put a Benji in the Rabbitohs earlier. Group A in the Star Toons. Peter Hiku, parallel for the Warriors. Rising Stars, Isaac for Storm. Josh Morris, parallel for the Roosters. Rabbitohs parallel checklist. Wildcard, David Nofaluma for the Tigers. Zach Lomax, parallel for the Dragons. Star Toons, Kenny Bromwich for the Storm. Adam Elliott, parallel for the Bulldogs. Rising Stars, Jermaine Tanua Brown for the Warriors. Wade Graham, parallel for the Sharks. Season to remember, Adam Reynolds for the Rabbitohs. Kalen Ponga, parallel for the Knights. White Streeter, Latrell Mitchell for the Rabbitohs. Philip Semi, parallel for the Titans. Season to remember, Chanel Harris Tavita for the Warriors. Michael Morgan, parallel for the Cowboys. Rising Stars, Bradman Best for the Knights. Jake Trbojevic, parallel for Manly. Kurt Mann, parallel for the Knights. Rising Stars, Trayman Spry for the Titans. Ryan Pappenhausen, parallel for Storm. 2 packets left in box number 8. Team Wildcard for the Panthers. Kenny Bromwich, parallel for Storm. Rising Stars for the Roosters. And Mitchell Moses, parallel for the Eels. Alright, let's pack this box up and get on to the next one. Box number 9. 2/3 of the way through now. Rising Stars, William Kennedy for the Sharks. Dylan Edwards, parallel for Panthers. Jack Whiten, season to remember for the Raiders. Blake Brayley, parallel for the Sharks. Rising Stars, Matt Dory for the Bulldogs. Brian Kelly, parallel for the Titans. Black Streeter, Ben Hunt for the Dragons. Hammerfitto, parallel for the Cowboys. Alex Twal, parallel for the Tigers. Ashley Taylor, parallel for the Titans. Wildcard, Mitchell Pearce for the Knights. Raymond Faitala Mariner, parallel for the Bulldogs. Top tries, David Nopper Luma for the Tigers, number 17. George Williams, parallel for the Raiders. Season to remember, David Nofaluma for the Tigers. Roger Tuivasa Sheck, parallel for the Warriors. Star Tunes, Adam Elliott for the Bulldogs. Bradman Best, parallel for the Knights. Rising Stars, Nico Hines for Storm. Jake Friend, parallel for the Roosters. Rising Stars, Asuka Poa for the Tigers. Jake Turpin, parallel for the Broncos. Season to remember, Roger Tuivasa Sheck for the Warriors. Aaron Woods, parallel for the Sharks. Wildcard, Jason Tormalolo for the Cowboys. Cade Cust, parallel for Manly. Club Heroes, Jake Averillo for the Bulldogs. Parallel, Adam Reynolds for the Rabbitohs. Rising Stars, Adam Pompey for the Warriors. Ben Hunt, parallel for the Dragons. Rising Stars, Tex Hoy for the Knights. Kyle Felt, parallel for the Cowboys. White Streeter, Jared Croker for the Raiders. Sharks, parallel, Dragons, parallel checklist. Wildcard, Alex Glenn for the Broncos. Curtis Sirenin, parallel for Manly. Rising Stars, Keon Kolomatangi for the Rabbitohs. Jordan McLean, parallel for the Cowboys. Daly Cherry Evans, parallel for Manly. Season to remember, Toby Rudolph for the Sharks. Mitchell Barnett, parallel for the Knights. Rising Stars, Beau Fermor for the Titans. Jerome Hughes, parallel for Storm. Rising Stars, Tavita Funa for Manly. Lachlan Fitzgibbon, parallel for the Knights. Dylan Brown, parallel for the Eels. Star Tunes, Payne Huss for the Broncos. Corey Thompson, parallel for the Titans. Wildcard, Cody Nikarima for the Warriors. Stephen Crichton, parallel for Panthers. Silver Authentics, Brian Kelly for the Titans. Jesse Bromwich, parallel for Storm. Rising Stars, Hammer for the Cowboys. Tigers, parallel checklist. White Streeter, Dylan Brown for the Eels. Jake Averillo, parallel for the Bulldogs. Season 2 remember, Josh Jackson for the Bulldogs. Patrick Carrigan, parallel for the Broncos. Rising Stars, Oregon Kafusi for the Eels. Elliot Whitehead, parallel for the Raiders. Season 2 remember, Tony Staggs. Junior Paulo, parallel for the Eels. Parallel, Chanel Harris Tavita for the Warriors. Team Wildcard for the Eels. Hargraves, parallel for the Roosters. Last packet for the box. Rising Stars, Kai O'Donnell for the Raiders. And Cody Walker, parallel for the Rabbitohs to finish us off. Let's get into box number 10. Kalen Ponga, parallel for Knights. Wildcard, Felice Kofusi for the Storm. Ryan Pappenhausen, parallel for the Storm. Star Tunes, Kenny Bromwich for the Storm. Josh Morris, parallel for the Roosters. Rising Stars, Freddie Lussick for the Roosters. Clint Gufferson, parallel for the Eels. Wildcard, Cody Walker for the Rabbitohs. Mikhail Ravalawa, parallel for Dragons. Wildcard, Happy Appy for Panthers. Jake Cheboyich, parallel for Manly. Retirement, Ethan Lowe for the Rabbitohs. Panthers parallel checklist. Season to remember, Martin Tapau for Manly. Parallel, David Nofaluma for Tigers. Star Tunes Group A, our second one. Sharks parallel checklist. Rising Stars, Cade Ellis for the Dragons. Josh Jackson, parallel for the Bulldogs. Rising Stars, Cade Cust for Manly. Kurt Mann, parallel for the Knights. Club Heroes, Payne Haas for the Broncos. Tony Staggs, parallel for the Broncos. Rising Stars, Charlie Staines for Panthers. Dunamis Luai, parallel for the Raiders. Season to remember, young Tonu Maipe for the Titans. Peter Hiku, parallel for the Warriors. Parallel, James Tedesco for the Roosters. Rising Stars, Herbie Farmworth for Broncos. Damien Cook, parallel for the Rabbitohs. White Streeter, Josh Mansell for Panthers. Kenny Bromwich, parallel for Storm. Season to remember, Gavin Cooper for Manly. And Mitchell Moses, parallel for the Eels. Been quiet in the chat today. Rising Stars, Connor Tracy for the Sharks. James Fisher-Harris, parallel for Panthers. Parallel, Luke Brooks for the Tigers. Team Wildcard for the Warriors. Luke Thompson, parallel for the Bulldogs. Rising Stars, Tommy Talau for the Tigers. Herbie Farmworth, parallel for Broncos. White Streeter, Josh Jackson for the Bulldogs. And Chance Nico Klokstad, parallel for the Raiders. Parallel, Zach Lomax for the Dragons. Season to remember, Kalen Ponga for the Knights. David Fusitua, parallel for the Warriors. Season 2, Rising Stars, Cooper Johns for Storm. Brett Morris, parallel for the Roosters. You don't hear much Cooper Johns. I'm not sure if he's still doing radio or if he's on the NRL shows and that. But yeah, you don't hear much of him anymore. Micah Sevo, season to remember for the Eels. Wade Graham, parallel for the Sharks. Parallel, Trell Mitchell for the Rabbitohs. Wildcard, Wade Graham for the Sharks. Adam Clune, parallel for the Dragons. Rising Stars, Semi Valemi for the Raiders. Rabbitohs, parallel checklist. Rising Stars, Brendan Wakeham for the Bulldogs. Philip Semi, parallel for the Titans. Rising Stars, Hayes Perham for the Warriors. Chad Townsend, parallel for the Sharks. Black Streeter, Jake Trbojevic for Manly. Anthony Don, parallel for Titans. Season to remember, Cameron Smith for Storm. Valentine Holmes, parallel for the Cowboys. Parallel, Michael Morgan for the Cowboys. Excuse me. One packet left for box number 10. Rising Stars, Phoenix Crossland for the Knights, and Tanila Paseka, parallel for Manly. Alright, well, we only have 2 of the boxes left to go. Box number 11, second last box for the case. For the break, season to remember, Cameron Smith for Storm. The Hammer parallel for Cowboys. Rising Stars, Phoenix Crossland for the Knights. Curtis Sheridan parallel for Manly. Rising Stars, Cade Cust for Manly. Mitchell Barnett parallel for the Knights. Parallel, Lachlan Fitzgibbon for the Knights. Wildcard, Jesse Bromwich for Storm. Jesse Bromwich parallel for the Storm. I guess we can put that in there. I'm not sure how well it will show up, if it will just sort of blend in. Rising Stars, Freddie Lussick for the Roosters. Junior Paulo parallel for the Eels. Wildcard, Latrell Mitchell for the Rabbitohs. Ben Hunt parallel for the Dragons. White Streeter, Josh Mansell for Panthers. Jerome Hughes parallel for the Storm. Retirements, James Graham for the Dragons. Parallel, Dylan Edwards for the Panthers. Season to remember, Martin Tapau for Manly. Parallel, Alex Twal for Tigers. Rising Stars, Cade Ellis for the Dragons. Raymond Faitala Mariner for the Bulldogs. Parallel. Star Tunes, Adam Elliott for the Bulldogs. Aaron Woods parallel for Sharks. Club Heroes, Tohu Harris for the Warriors. Jake Turpin parallel for the Broncos. Season to remember, Gavin Cooper for the Cowboys. Dylan Brown parallel for the Eels. Rising Stars, Charlie Staines for the Panthers. George Williams parallel for the Raiders. Season to remember, young Tonu Maipe for the Titans. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck parallel for the Warriors. Jake Friend, parallel for the Roosters. Rising Stars, Herbie Farmworth for the Broncos. Adam Reynolds, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Mikhail Ravalawa, parallel for the Dragons. Startoons, Payne Haas for the Broncos. James Tedesco, parallel. Excuse me. James Tedesco for the Roosters. Tigers, parallel checklist. Team wildcard for the Rabbitohs. Jake Averillo, parallel for the Bulldogs. Thank you, Tony. Season to remember, Micah Sivo for the Eels. Sharks, parallel checklist. Rising Stars, Brendan Wakem for Bulldogs. Oh, awesome to hear. Corey Thompson, parallel for the Titans. Have you been fishing lately? Any decent fish? Rising Stars, Tommy Talau for the Tigers. Patrick Carrigan, parallel for the Broncos. White Streeter, Josh Jackson for the Bulldogs. Elliot Whitehead, parallel for the Raiders. Sunday. Season to remember, Kalen Ponga for the Knights. Chanel Harris Tavita, parallel for the Warriors. Rising Stars, Cooper Johns for Storm. Hargraves, parallel for the Roosters. Parallel, Jordan McLean for the Cowboys. Jared Croker, Black Streeter for the Raiders. Cody Walker, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Rising Stars, Sammy Valemi for the Raiders. Damien Cook, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Oh, running nose and I've got no tissues. Wildcard, Sean Johnson for the Sharks. Parallel Dragons checklist. Sorry, guys. Oh, there we go. All right. Rising Stars, Hayes Perham for the Warriors. Blake Brayley, parallel for the Sharks. Wildcard, Isaiah Yo for Panthers. Daly Cherry Evans, parallel for Manly. Authentic Silver, Joseph Tarpanay for the Raiders. Parallel, Brian Kelly for the Titans. Last packet for box number 11. Rising Stars, Connor Tracy for the Sharks and Stephen Crichton for Panthers. Let's tidy these ones up. Realistically, I probably don't have to. I can keep these ones out and just fill the other boxes up. So it keeps them tidy while we finish up. Let's go box number 12. White Streeter, Jake Trbojevic for Manly. Ben Hunt, parallel for the Dragons. Season to remember, Michael Jennings for the Eels. Aaron Woods, parallel for the Sharks. Club Heroes. Who we got? Ruben Garrick for Manly. Campbell Graham, parallel for the Rabbitohs. Rising Stars, Matt Dory for the Bulldogs. And Ashley Taylor, parallel for the Titans. Parallel, Kyle Felt for the Cowboys. Wildcard, Payne Huss for the Broncos. Cade Cust, parallel for Manly. Rising Stars, Adam Pompey for the Warriors. Paul Vaughan, parallel for the Dragons. Rising Stars, Tavita Funa for Manly. Bradman Best, parallel for the Knights. Cody Nicarima, Black Street Art for the Warriors. Brendan Smith, parallel for Storm. Season to remember, Valentine Holmes for the Cowboys. Eels parallel checklist. Wildcard, Valentine Holmes for the Cowboys. Brad Parker, parallel for Manly. Season to remember, Suliasi Vunivalu for the Storm. William Kennedy, parallel for the Sharks. Rising Stars, William Kennedy for the Sharks. Isaiah Yo, parallel for Panthers. Luciano Leilua for the Tigers. Parallel Titans checklist. Rising Stars Tex Hoy for the Knights. Reese Robson parallel for the Cowboys. Wildcard Kalen Ponga for the Knights. Bulldogs parallel checklist. Rising Stars Asu Kapoa for the Tigers. Xavier Coates parallel for the Broncos. Retirements. Adam Blair for the Warriors. Big Papa parallel for the Raiders. Rising Stars Keon Kolomatangi for the Rabbitohs. Hammer Fido parallel for the Cowboys. Curtis Serenin parallel for Manly. Season to remember Latrell Mitchell for the Rabbitohs. Lachlan Fitzgibbon parallel for the Knights. Rising Stars Beau Fermor for the Titans. Jesse Bromwich parallel for Storm. Season to remember Bradman Best for the Knights. Jazz to Vega parallel for the Warriors. Star Tunes Roger Tuivasa Sheck for the Warriors. Brian Kelly parallel for Titans. Parallel Junior Paulo for the Eels. Wildcard Tohu Harris for the Warriors. Dylan Edwards parallel for the Panthers. Rising Stars Hammer Fido for the Cowboys. Alex Twal parallel for the Tigers. Rising Stars Nico Hines for Storm. Angus Crichton parallel for the Roosters. White Streeter Tucker Howie for the Roosters. Raitman Vitala Mariner parallel for the Bulldogs. Season to remember Charlie Staines for Panthers. Jake Turpin parallel for the Broncos. Rising Stars Oregon Kafusi for the Eels. George Williams parallel for the Raiders. Parallel Roger Tuivasa Sheck for the Warriors. 3 packets left for the break. Star Tunes Mikhail Ravalawa for the Dragons. David Clemmer parallel for the Knights. Team Wildcard for the Titans. Jake Friend parallel for the Roosters. And lucky last for the break. Here we go. Rising Stars Kai O'Donnell and Adam Reynolds parallel for the Rabbitohs. Don't forget, before we leave, we do have 2 Star Toon Group A's and 1 Group B. We also have the Laurie Daly number 28 signature. So we'll randomize all of them. We'll start with the Group A's. We'll do both of them and then the Group B. Let's change screens and get them done. As you can see, everyone is already in. We just need to get rid of Cowboys down for Group A. Alright, number 1, number 2, and lucky last, number 3, our first Group A, Stephen Gillard with the Knights. Let's quickly refresh. Chuck them in. Chuck that in. Beautiful. Number 1. This is for our second Group A. Number 2 and lucky last. Number 3. Lee Marshall with the Titans. Refresh it again to do our Group B. And this time we want that 3 times. Number 1. Number 2 and lucky last, number 3, Carlo Murata with the Roosters. Alright, our final one for the big one, our Laurie Daly Legends signature number 28. Here we go, number 1, number 2, and lucky last, number 3, Rod Staples with the Sharks. Congratulations. Especially because I think this is your first break with us. I do not recognise the name. So, congrats. Nice effort. Alright guys, that's it for this one. Don't forget to check out any available spots available on the website. We also have a spot raz going for 2 break spots. One in our next 21 traders case break, and the other one is in break 342, which is a traders combo break featuring 4 different traders priority boxes, 4 hobby boxes all up. It's 2 24s and 2 22s, maybe 2 21s, sorry. And then we've got 19 starter packs all up as well. So check that out on the website for more details. And